What's up, YouTube? This is your girl Megan from the Hood Astro Queen. Welcome back to my channel, to all of my returning subscribers. However, if this is your first time joining me on today, welcome. It is here that we use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, and most importantly, our goddamn selves. So with that in mind, thumbs up this video, subscribe to become a part of the family, and yeah. Today, I am coming to you once more with yet another celebrity birth chart reading, this time on none other than the little pint-sized gumdrop known as Lil Uzi Vert. All right, I did a reading on him last year, but he's found his way back in the headlines, this time because of him allegedly attacking and putting a gun up to his ex-girlfriend, Brittany Bird. Okay, so the story has it, he was dating Brittany Bird. They're not dating anymore. Clearly, he's dating JT from the city Gross. However, a few days ago, Brittany Bird was spotted dating, I guess, some rapper or producer or a guy in the industry who supposedly knows Uzi. However, they were enjoying a nice little lunch in the middle of a well-lit area in really the middle of the day, actually, when Mr. Chocolate Gumdrop himself pops out of a vehicle, and some people say he proceeded to attack her. Some people allege that he was trying to attack the other guy in question. Either way, Brittany Bird does get assaulted, allegedly, and word has it, Uzi actually took out a gun and placed it to her stomach. And meanwhile, the entire Protect Black Women Brigade, right? Everyone who was up in arms, especially those of you who align yourselves with the pony known as Meg. Everybody's silent. Everybody's silent. Ain't nobody got nothing to say. All the industry people are shh. As a matter of fact, okay, for the 4th of July this past weekend, Uzi was able to fly out to the other side of the country and enjoy some nice, wholesome fun at some party. I guess Jay-Z threw a party somewhere, and it was all the who's who in the celebrity kingdom. You even had him breakdancing and having a time of his life as Meek Mill and James Harden engaged in a mean tickle fight. What the fuck? Did y'all see them niggas in the background? Anyway, it was beyond me. Anyway, so the girls want to know if he's capable of domestic violence, and they want to know, what this could potentially even come from an astrological standpoint. So that's what we're here to discuss. So Lil Uzi Vert was born July 31st, 1994 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And although his birth time is unknown, we can safely deduce that he is both a Leo sun, with his sun at the 8th degree, and a Taurus moon. Okay, his moon would definitely be at the later degree of Taurus. So we're talking maybe potentially even like the 20-somethings, maybe even, 17th, 18th degree. It just depends on, whether he's a morning baby, night baby, or anywhere in between. But he's definitely a Taurus moon. Red flag, because his moon happens to be conjoined to his south node, okay, and opposing his Pluto. So he has Pluto conjoined to that Scorpio north node, which in my last video, I definitely talked about how this attributes to him being this very gothic, emo kind of style individual. That Plutonian influence could breed lots of tattoos, the piercings, body modification. Scorpio/Pluto both deal with body modification. It could deal with why he kind of just has that grunge appeal, right? But it could also make him very toxic. And with that Pluto opposing his Taurus moon, and tied to his south node, this could actually be a very key indicator of abuse in a man's chart. The opposition could make a man abusive, both emotionally and even physically. Very much so. Pluto is all about force, right? Pluto and Scorpio, it's all about force, whether it be, forcing and imposing yourself on a person, specifically a woman, hence the moon. The moon in a man's chart does deal with women, the mother as well. So you see this in the charts of men who could have even had very estranged relationships with the mother. A lot of these men may not have even grown up with the mother. In some cases, the grandmother may have been the more dominant influence in their lives, or the mother may have passed or expired earlier on, or there could have just been some, just polarized experience with the mother, which obviously absolutely trickles down into the way that they experience the women in their own love life. So these are men who are just very, controlling, like I said, obsessive, abusive. Even when you think of it from the perspective of like a man who's not even above choking a bitch the fuck out. Okay, Taurus rules the throat. So him having that Taurus moon conjoined to his south node, opposing Pluto and that Scorpio north node, you can look at Pluto and Scorpio as pressure, right? Pressure being applied. Taurus, the neck, okay? Literally him wrapping his hands around a bitch's neck and squeezing and squeezing. It's not funny, but I see it. I see it. He's very much capable of it. So, this opposition makes him toxic as hell. He could be very, very toxic in his relationships, all right? It also does not help that he is a Gemini Mars. Mutable Mars individuals are always particularly dangerous because they are the types who can snap when you least suspect. And, their tempers can actually just be really, really unpredictable. But specifically when we talk about Gemini Mars individual, these are people who can even have the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde complex, or whenever they snap, they just go off the deep end. And his Mars is squaring his Venus, okay? And at the 22nd degree of Virgo. Mars squaring Venus or Venus squaring Mars in a natal chart of a man in general could also be very indicative of a man who either is very catty towards women, or where he's used to having a lot of issues with women, where there could be a lot of fighting in relationships. And of course, this doesn't always have to be physical fighting, but with that Gemini Mars, Gemini deals with the hands. So these are people who are actually a lot more likely to pap somebody up, especially when triggered. Like I said, when they fly off the handle, it's just really hard to contain them. So that Gemini Mars squaring his Venus also being a planet that deals with the women in a man's life, I wouldn't be surprised, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he's the type of dude to, whether it be arguing, him being very argumentative. That's also another manifestation of this aspect, but also just, being liable to fight a woman. Like, it is what it is. He also has that Venus and Virgo forming a semi-square to his Leo sun, where he feels like women are there to serve him. And Leos in general could be the type to like to intimidate people. His sun is at the 8th degree. The number 8 is the degree of punishment. So these are people who could be specifically like mean, cruel, especially when they feel slighted. Right? So, having that in semi-square to his Venus at the 22nd degree of Virgo, I could definitely see him being tyrannical, very controlling. The number 22 is the control or be controlled degree. It could also make him very shallow in his preference when it comes to women, where he likes you to be a certain way. But so can that Taurus moon. Okay. But yeah, he can just be shallow and just someone who is just difficult to deal with. But I definitely see indicators of violence for sure. Then he has his Mars forming a sesqui square to his Jupiter at the 6th degree of Scorpio. You could look at that as him losing his cool, flipping out, flying over the handle, or is it flying off the handle? It's one of those. Over, off, and under the handle. The man is crazy, America, in my Bernie Mac voice. In fact, with this sesqui square, he may even be the type of person, because when we add Jupiter in Scorpio into the mix, right, it creates this kind of blackout experience, especially when talking about anger, right? that Mars influence. So let's say he gets really angry. If he's mad enough, he could black out. Or where, like I said, him just kind of flying off of the handle, and next thing you know, like, you're taking it to extremes. That could also even deal with him having an outrageous libido or sex drive. Also, he has Venus running parallel to Chiron, okay, because Chiron is at the 9th degree of Virgo as well. More issues in regards to, controlling women. He could also be severely insecure. And in running through some of his asteroids, I just found it interesting that he has Cupido, which is the asteroid that could deal with being a player, right? You see it aspecting or highly aspected in the charts of a lot of people who are players or who do a really good job of, coming off one way, but really not wanting to be tied down, not really being in love, the type of people that like to stick and move. His Cupido is actually conjoined to that Gemini Mars. He's definitely a guy who could lay it low and spread it wide. These are people who need variety. They need to be stimulated. So, you can trust them as far as you could throw them, really. And although they don't really have nothing to do with him being violent per se, I just thought it was interesting because, second to him clearly being a psychopath, he's clearly not faithful. And people have already been speculating about like the overlap between the timeline where he was with JT and then Brittany, or whether he was messing around with one girl while he was with the other. So he's definitely a cheater. And that's another manifestation of his, moon in opposition to Pluto as well. That can create lots of infidelity. Not to mention he has Bacchus. Bacchus could deal with where, one could have an addiction, or there could be a problem a person may not necessarily want to admit. Bacchus is conjoined to his Neptune. He gives me very unstable, under the influence kind of tea, which compounds the effect of his Saturn at the 11th degree of Pisces in opposition to that Chiron and Virgo. These are pill poppers. These are people who could really have like issues, I probably even with prescription meds and all kinds of stuff. So, hey, and word on the curb is JT be out here on that booger sugar. That's what the girls say, allegedly. So when you add a very hostile, volatile person and throw them in a mix with drugs and things like that, these people are ticking time bombs, period. This man is capable of damn near anything. He also has the asteroid Happy, which can deal with ambushes and attacks, forming an opposition to that Saturn in Pisces. So once again, sneak attacking, sneaking up on people. If you want to be honest, that opposition between Pluto and his moon could also deal with an ambush. Oppositions in many instances could entail ambushes, combat and battles between oneself and other people, but especially, when it comes to Uzi and women, or where he could be a stalker. They say he's been stalking Brittany Bird. That's very Pluto in opposition to the moon. That Venus and Virgo squaring his Gemini Mars, like I said before, not only can make him verbally abusive, but, Mars does deal with guns. So it's worth mentioning that, even in the scope of him allegedly putting a gun to Brittany, I could see that. And you know what's funny? With his Venus in Virgo rules the gastrointestines. It rules the gut. So, literally, him putting a gun to her stomach, things to make you go, Then he has Mercury in opposition to Neptune, and Neptune forming a quincunx to his Mars. The man is out his mind. He's out his mind. Like I said, I think the drugs got a strong grip on them, but these are also people who just, in general, are just warped. Their view of reality is warped. They're not wrapped too tight. They are prone to either disassociation, or you could even look at, that opposition between his moon and Pluto is like psychosis, acting outside of themselves. It's just how many more ways can I say it? The man got issues. So, I'm going to go ahead, conclude the video right here. Y'all drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the situation. And, of course, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so that you can love others. And until the next video, I holla.